Good morning students, myself Vishal Pandey, your English teacher, and guess what, today we are starting a poem from your book. The name of the poem is Wind, as it is written on the screen as you can see. This type of poem brings sudden change in your life which is associated with nature, the beauty of the nature. As we take the name of nature, we must not forget William Wordsworth, because Wordsworth was the pioneer of nature. He was a true lover of nature. He was a great follower of nature, because he has said in his quotation that nature teaches us, blesses us, as well as it punishes us. तो नेचर एक ऐसी मदर है which can bless you as well as it can punish you, however it is required. So we are taking this poem Wind into consideration. This poem will help you to understand the wind, how it comes on the platform, how it shooks everything and how it went away. This poem has been written by Subramanya Bharati in the Kannada language, or you can say in the South Indian language. But remember one thing, A.K. Ramanujan is a poet of Indian English literature who has immense contributed to English literature in terms of translating the South Indian literature into English literature. So A.K. Ramanujan has that potentiality to translate that piece of poem from South Indian language. It may be a Kannada language, Tamil, Telugu or Malayalam language. A.K. Ramanujan has translated many of the poem, or you can say the short stories, drama, novels in English literature. So let us assume this poem. It will help you a lot, and I will explain you the summary, the theme of the poem, then poetic devices, as well as the question and answers later on in this video. If you start with wind, the literal meaning of wind, what is wind? It is associated with nature. It is a form of nature, it is a part of nature. Wind, as you can say in Hindi, pavan, hawa, etc. and etc. The wind blows strongly and causes a lot of destruction. How can we make friends with it? It is a question asked by poet, that a wind blows very energetically and it is very destructive in nature. Then how we can make friend with it? Can we be friend of wind? Is it possible? Let us assume the thoughts, the intellectuality of the poet, that how he has translated and how she has written in terms of that how you can make friend with wind. According to writer, according to author, or according to poet, you can say that wind comes softly. There are several winds, some pleasant winds, some gale and gust, and then obviously some destructive winds are there as well. As you can see, this time period, this if you talk about when the monsoon comes in India, the rain comes in India, along with the destructive winds also used to come. So you cannot say that wind will always be pleasant. Sometimes it can be destructive as well. So poet is saying that wind comes softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Now if you see in the second line, the thoughts of the poet has completely changed. He is saying in the first line that wind comes softly, and on the other hand in the second line he is saying that wind is just destructing, or it is just breaking down the shutters of the window. When wind comes very hazardously, it shook or it breaks the shutters of the window by cracking it down. Don't scatter the papers. Scatters means to throw away here and there. हिंदी में कहें तो बिखरा देना. तो scattering of the papers are also taking place by wind. Whenever wind comes in your room, it just scattered your things here and there. Papers and your everything which is there, which is light in weight, it can be carried away by wind. So author is saying that whenever wind comes, it breaks the shutters of my window, it don't scatter the paper. It don't scatter means what? Ultimately it scatters. And don't throw down the books on the shelf. Author is saying, the poet is converting a message, is conveying a message to wind that, oh wind, don't do this, don't scatter my papers, don't break my window, don't throw my books here and there on the shelf. There, look what you did, you threw them all down. Ultimately, poet is saying that I had requested you a lot that don't do this, don't do that, but ultimately what you have done, you have thrown them all down. So wind is that point of view. If you see wind का perception अगर हम देखें, so writer is requesting कि oh wind, don't do this, don't do that, but ultimately wind is doing its work. It is throwing all here and there because it is so powerful. If you see children, poetic devices, I will be telling you the poetic devices. In this poem, so many poetic devices has been used. Poetic devices, there are few poetic devices like anaphora, alliteration, oxymoron, personification, onomatopoeia. So many poetic devices are there. We will be discussing those poetic devices as well. But if you remember, don't, 3 words are written here. Don't, and again don't. This is the anaphora poetic device. I will tell you what is anaphora. When I will complete the poem, I will discuss with you the anaphora and all. If you see the rhymings of the poem, is there any rhyming? Is there any rhyming in the poem in the first stanza? No, there is no rhyming. And whenever there is no rhyming in the poem, what we say? We say that it has been written in blank verse. What it has been written? In blank verse. Verse means V-E-R-S-E. Verse means poem. And blank means without any rhyming scheme. So what it means? That this poem, Wind, has been written in blank verse. Keep this in your mind as well. So if you see that poet is having so much distraction and he is in a dilemma, he is in a confusion that how wind is coming and wind is scattering his things here and there, and it is breaking down the windows as well and throwing down the books on the shelf itself. If you see more, you are very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Now you are very clever. Who is you? You is the wind itself. Wind is very clever according to poet at poking. What is poking? Poking means making fun of. Making fun of weaklings. Weakling means, what is the meaning of weakling? Weakling means the weak people. कमज़ोर लोगों का मजाक उड़ाना या उनको गिराना या उनको उड़ा ले जाना, ये किसका काम है? विंड का काम है according to poet. So poet is saying continuously that oh wind, you are very clever, you are intelligent by poking fun of. Poking means making fun of. Whose fun? Weaklings. Weakling means the weak people you are making fun of. Frail, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, and crumbling wood, crumbling bodies and crumbling lives. ये crumbling बार बार यूज किया गया है. This is the repetition. Which poetic device is here? Repetition. Whenever you repeat a word in a poem, it is called repetition. Repetition is also a form of poetic device. So don't forget this. Frail, crumbling houses. What it means, that poet is saying that, oh wind, you are making your houses crumble down because of you. बहुत सारे घर और मकान तुम्हारी वजह से गिर जाते हैं. क्रम्बलिंग डोर्स, दरवाजे लड़ जाते हैं. इफ़ यू सी, दरवाजे शॉर्ट करते हैं और लड़ते हैं. क्रम्बलिंग राफ्टर्स, व्हाट इज़ द मीनिंग ऑफ राफ्टर्स? आई विल टेल यू. क्रम्बलिंग वुड, लकड़ियाँ जो हैं आपस में, वुड मीन्स व्हाट? इन द सेंस ऑफ फॉरेस्ट एज वेल, in the sense of trees as well. Crumbling trees means falling down of trees because of wind. Crumbling bodies, कभी कभी इंसान भी अगर चल रहा हो रोड पे, हवाएं तेज़ हों तो वो भी क्रम्बल करता है, वो भी मूवमेंट करता है. एंड क्रम्बलिंग लाइव्स, क्रम्बलिंग हर्ट्स. You know, the sense which poet is bringing in this poem is that he is sharing all the scenarios of wind, the different aspects of wind, that the characterization, what is the classification of winds, what winds does in terms of creating amusement, is all discussed in this poem by author. So this much is enough for today, children. This is half of the poem. In the next video I will be explaining from here this stanza, I will be explaining the next stanza, and I hope you understood the first stanza. Watch this video as many times as you can. Thank you so much.